Hey everybody, Will, just time prepping. How you guys doing? Hey, today I want to cover some stuff about seniors and the elderly and disaster preparedness, okay? Now, I want to explore some of the special preparedness needs of the senior and elderly members of families and communities. I understand that there are elderly people that they know how their needs need to be different, but they're different than mine are. That's a great question, and certainly one that I've asked of myself many times. But consider this: the elderly are less mobile and far less likely to be able to evacuate on their own. Their eating habits may be more finicky, and they may have health reasons that are restricted, and the need for life-sustaining prescription medications. And then there's the medical devices, and then that increases with age. And perhaps the most difficult of all is the sense of fear may result in profound depression as the families and others are comforting the world around them that has changed. For those embarking upon the family preparedness lifestyle, it's important to consider the special needs of the elderly and disabled adults, and to help them educate and assist others to become leaders in an SHTF situation, and that's caused by natural, man-made, or economic disasters, you guys. And the checklist that I put together is to be shared one-on-one with members of the older adult population, like for moms and dads, grandparents, or even neighbors. You can review the list and use it as a guideline for initiating a discussion with the important members of your community. For one, you need to prepare now for a sudden emergency. In the event of a disaster, local and rescue workers will do their best to arrive quickly, but they may be physically or otherwise impeded to swift recovery efforts. The key to prepare now is for a sudden emergency, and there are some things that you can do. You can assemble a disaster kit that includes food and water and first aid items and a flashlight with some batteries and even a little bit of cash. You can arrange to have someone check on you every once in a while on a periodic basis. You can plan and practice the best escape routes from your home. You can get to know the types of emergencies that are most likely to happen in your area, so that you can be prepared for it. You can create window signs that will make it so that you can signal for assistance. You could post emergency phone numbers close to your phone, so if something happens to you, then they come to check on you. They find the list and they know what to look for. You can keep a list of the location of the operating instructions handy, so that the rescue workers will even know how to find them. You can be prepared to defend yourself. You could get some pepper spray or aerosol hair products work. You can push the button and light it with a lighter, and it becomes a flamethrower. You can also take care of your medical needs. You can assemble some spare medical supplies in an easy-to-carry transportable container, such as a backpack maybe, or a shoulder bag or a duffel bag. You can include 7 to 14 day supply of prescription medications, and be sure to include written instructions regarding the dosage and a list of allergies and whatnot. You can pack up an extra pair of glasses, even if they are old. hearing aids, batteries for your hearing aids. Label your stuff. This includes your bags and other containers with medications, maybe walkers or canes. Put your name on them, wheelchairs, or anything that you might think that you're likely to need. Make copies of your medical insurance and Medicare cards and include them with your medical supplies. You know, I've told you guys many times about the ICE cards in case of emergency. Also include a list of the style and serial number of your medical devices, such as a pacemaker, you know, or you can share your documents with somebody so that if something happens, then they can get a hold of this person and they can help. Excuse me, guys. I didn't bring my water. You can prepare for a possible evacuation plan. You can learn how to shut off the water and your gas and your electricity. You can take your pets with you. You can learn to teach them to go with you in an emergency, you know, so they don't get all excited. And you can also, in the event of evacuation, wear warm clothing or sturdy shoes. You can always peel away clothing, but you can't ever really add them on in an emergency. So you want to make sure that someone you know has an extra key to your house so that they can get in if an emergency were to happen. And if you don't already have one, get a cell phone. A lot of older or disabled folks don't even have access to that. Get a cell phone and just keep it in with your emergency supplies so that you can get a hold of somebody in an emergency. So these days we're finding that there's more young people taking care of the elderly, and because they take care of children, it kind of refers back. They can use those same habits with an elderly person to make them understand certain things and whatnot. So beds can be fitted with bars so you don't fall out. You can just stand in one place and do exercises. You can respect their wishes and try to understand their point of view, elderly or disabled folks. And you can have things that when things get bad and they want to be left behind and not be a burden to younger family members and whatnot, this is a tough one. You can see how someone would think that they don't want to be a burden on someone else, you know. So if you make them feel even more important, like you can tell them that it's their job to make sure all the children are in one place, or make sure that they are everyone has the medications that they need. Make them feel important. And whatever you do, you want to make sure that you're avoiding letting them take any falls or anything like that. You can, there's a lot of situations where an older person might want to go outside or think that they should try to get somewhere. If it's nice storm or inclement weather, you could increase their opportunity to take falls and it'd be dramatically. So you want to make sure that they can't fall down. Some people are very independent and they're resistant to any ideas of anyone. So taking care of them is you kind of have to treat them as a grown adult child. They'll feel bad if someone else is helping them. They won't be comfortable with someone else helping them, and they'll try to stop by and check on elders during an event if you can. So this makes them feel important also. You know, you put them in charge of another elderly or disabled person and make them feel important. And that way they don't get listless and feel like they don't want to go on. Also, you want to make sure that you have the backup power that you need. So most medical equipment is power dependent. So if there's a major outage, this can mean that you're limited to battery backup, or perhaps you have a power bank of batteries. You have to make sure that you can use those and make everything stretch out as far as possible. generator battery banks. They can be a major help, or you can keep a power bank like those. You can buy those little bars at just about anywhere. They'll have like 6 or 8 hours of energy, so you can keep your phone and whatnot charged. So you always want to make sure that you have power, especially in emergencies, even if it's just enough to power your cell phone or a clock radio or something like that, so you can keep abreast of what's going on. You also want to have easily prepared foods and accessible water. So during an emergency, it's important that you have water and the food needs met. So you want to have ready-to-eat items, MREs, that are freeze-dried foods, where you just add water and they're not real they're inexpensive to buy, and they can make life a lot easier for you in these special situations. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a few light meals, to kind of keep you going until you get help to you or everything falls back in place. You want to make sure that you have plenty of lighting. Seniors need to have lighting so that they can do their things. They can take their medications. They can use their machines that they need to use. And there have been cases where seniors were actually terrified to get out of the house at the nighttime, because they didn't have the adequate power they needed for lighting and whatnot. Yeah, even just a little LED flashlight can help a lot. So you want to make sure that you go over your plan and check supplies occasionally, so that if these events were to happen, you have a game plan. So no one remembers everything, and it's easy for supplies to get misplaced or used up. Memory loss is not a pleasant thing to have, especially if you're an elderly, disabled person. And you need to review the disaster preparedness plans almost weekly, just to keep it fresh in your head. Some older folks, they're good about staying ahead of their food supply and household needs, while others, they kind of slack off or whatnot. So you want to make sure that everything is taken care of. Make sure that you cover the things that they might forget. So you all know that we are lesson learned, right? You might have a judgmental about elderly thoughts and habits, but after taking care of other older folks and whatnot in your lifetime, you'll find out that they're just as important as a child or a pet or whatever. You want to make sure you take care of them and you understand their needs. So in addition to having a discussion with the older adults in your life, you want to make sure that you suggest that you help them gather supplies and educate them, regardless of the proper storage of extra food and water. And while you're talking about it, keep your supplies sealed and keep them cool. That's what you want to ensure that the folks are doing. Make sure that they're keeping their supplies cool down. So these are just a few of the things that you can talk about with older people that are disabled or elderly. Make sure that they're being prepared for anything. And don't push them. The important thing is not to push them, because they're so most elderly folks are disabled folks. They're set in their ways. So what you want to do is you kind of want to make sure that when you're talking to them about it, that they've bought into it, and they're kind of, shaking their head and they agree with you, This is the best way to get it all taken care of. So that's what I have for today. I hope you got something out of it, because it's really important that the elderly or the disabled, they know how to handle disasters and be prepared. And you just never know in these times, it's just a really bad time. And we want to make sure that everybody is covered, the seniors, the elderly, the children, everyone. So that's what I have for today, disaster preparedness for seniors and elderly. Hope you got something out of it. I'll see you next time. I can't do any of this without you. I've got to say one more thing before we get out of here. Is today's Thursday. We have Saturday night live feed. That's 8 o'clock Greater Mountain Time. So make sure you're there. We're going to have a drawing for the folks that showed up for Wednesday. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys that showed up Wednesday. That was one of the best live streams. It was the best. So give yourself a thumb up for that, okay? And until next time, it's God bless you, God bless me, and God bless USA. Thanks for watching, you guys.